All right, this is Bad Weather Fans. Mike Biseglia with you. Alex, too scared to join the podcast because of how well the Nets have been playing. I'm just kidding. You're actually about to hear the full episode with Alex and myself, but I'm throwing an insert here, little pre-roll ad before the show begins, cold open style. That's because Alex and I just recorded. Then about an hour later, as I was about to post this episode 244 up online on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, etc., we got news that Cam Thomas is out 3 to 4 weeks. The news breaking from Sean Sharania. Brooklyn Nets rising star Cam Thomas, rising star, oh nice, will miss 3 to 4 weeks due to a left hamstring sprain. Sources told ESPN. Apologize if my son runs here in the room. He's not used to my recording times right now. But Thomas ranks 14th in the NBA in scoring, averaging career highs of 24.7 points per game, 46% shooting from the field, and 38.9 from three. Bottom line is Cam Thomas now out 3 to 4 weeks. Bummer, disappointing. I mean, I believe for the people that are in the tank mode, fully got to be happy about that because Cam Thomas helps the Nets win basketball games, which Alex and I will talk about in just a matter of moments. But Cam Thomas out 3 to 4 weeks and disappointing. It's been fun to watch his evolution and see how well he's been playing basketball. Career high in assists, career high from behind the arc in three, and being a lot more efficient this year. And seeing his growth has been fun. Remember last year, he had that injury where he missed a certain amount of time when the Nets were playing some solid basketball. And, as a fan, seeing him play that well, it's disappointing to see. Now, for the Nets' perspective, they've been winning games. They even won the game without him against the Hornets, but over a long sense of time. There's only so much a team can take. Eventually, losses will catch up, but I think not having Cam Thomas, there's just no way around that. Being their best player, their leading scorer, or maybe Cam Johnson's their best scorer, the Cams. Just no way, though, for this team to ultimately continue to win. If they're going to experience injuries like this, Noah Clowney in a walking boot, Dorian Finney-Smith's been hurt, Nick Claxton's been hurt, Ben Simmons been out. The bottom line is you need bodies over time. So as positive as it's been at 8-10, there's only so much that this team can handle, especially now losing a guy that was playing at an all-star level, maybe even an all-star. All right, this is Bad Weather Fans. Full episode starts now. And again, when everything that you hear from Alex and I, when we have our conversation, this news, when we talked, it happened before the Cam Thomas news. But enjoy the episode.
Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 244. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by DraftKings. Both the Nets and Knicks playing good basketball right now. The Knicks 10-7. They will play the Dallas Mavericks later tonight if you're listening to this, while the Brooklyn Nets are 8-10, winners of 3 out of their last 4. They invade Phoenix to play Kevin Durant in the Suns. I have to check to see if KD is on the available roster tonight. I know he played yesterday when he came back from an injury, but it's a back-to-back, and I don't have to explain what that means to NBA fans who are listening to this podcast. Alex, good afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody else out there as well. I'm doing great. Knicks are winning. That's it. I'm happy.
Yeah, they've
very simple. I'm a very simple man.
Yeah, well, it's funny because for Net fans, and we can begin here, it's the opposite angle, right? The Nets are winning basketball games, and a lot of Net fans are upset. And not only are they winning basketball games, they are winning games that you would be shocked that they are winning.
But the season was over. Then wasn't the season over? Like last month, everybody said the Knicks were going to be bad. They're going to be average. It was a terrible trade.
I'm talking about the Nets.
Well, the Nets fans were saying that too, man. A lot of Nets fans.
The Knicks
like, we're
season
gonna have
was
the
over?
Lottery. We're gonna have their lottery pick. It's gonna be all the Bucks are gonna be in the lottery too.
Stop
and both the Knicks and Nets have won 7. Knicks and Bucks have won 7-10, just like that. And
well, I said, well, first of all, I do not.
A lot of Nets fans said it. A lot.
What, the Knicks were going to be under 500?
A lot of people said it.
Show me the receipts of people saying that.
I'll show you. They're all over Twitter, man. You can find it unless they delete.
Get off Twitter.
That's what they do.
Enough of this. Enough of dictating people's opinions from Twitter. I'm so.
Well, they are people. I mean, I'm on Twitter. And I'm a person. You're a person.
Well, I am, but I don't know if everybody else is. But any rational fan, I don't care, knew that the Knicks were not going to be. First of all,
Did they know the Bucks were going to get better? I don't know about
I
that.
did. I said the
That
whole
looked like they
time.
would implode. That
Oh,
was yeah,
well,
yeah.
they had that fact. They have played better. They're 9-9. You haven't heard about them because they're winning basketball games. Which
Right, right.
I would
They won without Giannis last night in Miami.
give me
So
a Knicks Bucks 4-5 first round.
yeah,
Sign me up right now for that.
that'd be good. Yeah, because at least
Sign
you're
me up.
either way you're getting that one team out in the first round. That's smart. Yeah.
Exactly. And then
Some smart moments.
I'll take that. But yeah, the Knicks are playing better. They got a great win in Denver.
Right.
Although, as Jamal Murray said, they were out in LA the night before.
Oh yeah. Excuses.
I do think I'm kind of scattered.
Valentine's Day a few months ago.
Well, I do think
like,
I do think that the Nuggets didn't come in sharp. Like, you don't lose by 40 like that. But it's the NBA. This happens. I'm not taking anything away from the Knicks. They kicked the shit out of them. It was a great win.
But you are,
but
you're taking away a little bit.
But also, it's a regular. This just happens. It does happen. It does happen. I will say, like, if the Nuggets do it 3 straight games, it does happen. It does happen.
Well, it's old sports thing. It's not about who you play
the night before.
Yeah. Right.
And it's almost the same thing in reverse.
Yep.
Right. Like
it's when you play a team, not who you play. Really.
Right. It does happen. Although that's shit on the Denver. They should have been ready for that. Like, to me, that's more disappointing in them. But to what I was saying before, yes, it does. Anybody that thought the seasons were over for the Knicks then is out of their mind. I said it's going to take time. They're going to play better basketball. It was fun to see them lose, and I hope they lose again to Dallas, who won't have Luka, which obviously helps the Knicks a lot because he's pretty damn good. Now the Nets,
he is good
at 8-10. I mean, they what I was saying before, till I got interrupted by me and you, was that they win in Sacramento. Not easy to do.
Sacra tomato. Yeah.
They're doing this without a lot of guys. Then they go in on a back-to-back into Golden State and win without basically Cam Johnson.
And come back from a big
down
deficit.
18 points. Cam Thomas doesn't even really play in the fourth quarter. Cam Johnson's out of this game. Nick Claxton's not there because he's hurt. Noah Crowley's not there because he's hurt. Ben Simmons is not there because he's hurt. That's why I say this. And Net fans are upset. They're like, what's going on? We have to tank. What else can they do? Realistic
besides forfeit. Yeah.
Jordy is not going to tank. The players and coaches of organizations don't tank. He's not wired to go in and try to lose basketball games.
Nor should he be.
That's just not what. And if he's doing that, that's a bigger issue, because then it's almost like baseball analytics, where he's not even really coaching the team. So he's coaching the guys that he has in front of him, and they're winning basketball games. You can be upset that they're winning because you think it hurts their chances at a lottery pick, but don't put it on the Net organization like, oh, they're not tanking. What is he supposed? It was Jalen Wilson, Keon Johnson, Trendon Watford. Like, these are the guys that went into Golden State and made this comeback. Tell Keon Johnson to not play his ass off because he wants to get a big contract down the line sometime. Like, of course not. It's crazy.
Right. It's like the old, I forgot who it was, but it's not like the Nets hired a coach that is there to get a paycheck and you're supposed to lose and the guy's just happy to have a job. And, the Celtics when they were tanking for Duncan, I forgot who the coach was then. I don't know if it was Pitino. I forgot who it was, but it was somebody who wasn't.
Was it Pitino?
I don't know if he was still there. I don't remember, but either way, it was like, it could have been, but he was directed by the organization, lose games. Like, you're safe, lose games. We need Duncan. And they didn't get him, obviously. But the Spurs, they held out David Robinson, even though he came back from injury. They said, no, you're sitting. But, anyway, that only happens today. People say nothing happened like that in the 90s, but it did. But anyway,
who did Boston draft that year? They had 2 picks. It's easy. One was a Nick.
Pierce.
One was a nope.
Paul Pierce. No.
Pierce was late. Pierce was in the 98 draft, and he was the 10th.
What? Pick. So what year was this? I forgot. 96? Yeah.
This would be the 96. No, not the 96 draft. I'm wrong. The 97 draft. This would have been the 97 draft because Kobe was the 96. I think it was the 97.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So it was the 3. If I'm off by the year, but it was the 3 and the 6 pick. We can get back. We can put a pin in it. We'll get back to it at the end. So we don't spend.
And there were Knicks and Nets. They
eventually became at some point in their careers.
Okay. All right. We'll think about it.
One is
That's
kind of famous-ish for something that happened with the Knicks, like indirectly, weirdly. And he's an NBA coach.
Oh, I know who it is. Well, wait. I know who it is. Okay. Yeah, I got that one.
The other one went to Kentucky.
And the other one went to Kentucky.
Anyway, go ahead.
That one I don't know, but that guy I know. Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
Let people. Go for it.
Go for what? What were you saying? I
You were
forgot.
talking. I interrupted you, but you were talking about it in the '90s that the tanking.
Oh, tanking didn't happen in the 90s when it did,
Right.
but people just like to misremember things.
And the lottery
That's
stats have changed now, where the Atlanta Hawks were in the play-in last year and ended up getting the number one pick.
the
Because
Pelicans won the lottery with Zion, and they won like 32 games or something that year.
Because the numbers, the stats have changed. Where yes, if you are the worst team in the league, you have better chances.
You're guaranteed top 3 or 4, right? Something like that. So yeah, at least you get that.
Top
Yeah.
five, because the
Top
Pistons
5
fell to
now. Wow.
5, and there's no guarantee of it. Now, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Like, so obviously, you'd rather have a 29% chance than a 14% chance,
course.
or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. But I hate this idea of fans getting upset at the organization. Like, what do you want them? Jordy Fernandez is not going to try to lose. They're putting
But
out
what
a
fans
roster.
were they on Twitter? Were those fans
There's
on
a lot
Twitter?
of net fans very upset by it. I don't know what else to do.
But they're
Like,
not
if
real on
these-
Twitter, so it doesn't count if you saw it on Twitter.
That's
what
correct.
you said.
There's the 3 people I'm recognizing in my brain are real. So I just can't in my right mind understand, what do you want them to do? The guy,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it either, Alex. They don't have much talent. Half their roster is hurt. They went into Sacramento and Golden State and won. They've won 3 out of 4. They have the Hornets win. They had a bad loss versus the 76ers. It doesn't make any sense. I do think at some point they're going to start losing basketball games. He can't be this good of a head coach. You can't just get these guys to play this long. Maybe they get their roster. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like a very smart guy said on New York Got Game at Dexter Henry's show at SNY and New York Post Sports that the Nets would start off really fast and then end up winning too much. And it would be like, oh my God, we got to trade everybody and then trade everybody.
And why did you think that? Like,
that's
honestly,
what I said. Yes.
Why? Why?
Because I thought they were a lot more talented than people thought. And then you have all these guys before they know how bad they are, they're going to play their ass off. And I didn't know who this coach was, but you never know. You never know with a new coach. He could be great. Like, you know what I mean? And I believe in Cam Thomas. I think Cam Thomas is a borderline star. You know what I mean? So there's a lot there. Like, that's why I thought that they would all get it together, and they have some guys coming back from Cam Johnson and these guys that can play. So I thought they would win some games early because early on in the season, a lot of the big time teams aren't ready yet. You know what I mean? They can pick off some guys. I mean, the Warriors, they were ready. They just fell asleep in that game. And it is what it is. I mean, they'll blow it up, or though they won't. I mean, look at like the Miami Heat. Pat Riley has never tanked ever, and he's won a ton of championships with Miami. Right. I know they ended up getting LeBron, et cetera, but LeBron doesn't go there unless if they're to win 3 games. Look what the Knicks tried to do. They were terrible, and then they got some good players, and they were okay with Gallinari and Wilson Chandler. But he said Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh or Amari Stoudemire and Wilson Chandler. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious what he wanted to do. Right. So that's why you have to put yourself in position. And if you're the Nets, keep winning. Just keep winning. If you're good and you surprise people, you get in the playoffs. What's wrong with that? You got 3 first-round picks. Use those picks, trade them somewhere, and get better. Maybe Giannis wants to come to the Nets because he's not going to want to come to the Nets if they win 12 games this year. So it just is what it is.
Well, I think it's because you have generational talent that's in the draft in those top picks, and it doesn't.
You can lose and still get. You can win some games and still get those guys. Yeah,
I don't think the Nets are going to continue this kind of success. They just at some point they'll trade players.
Yeah,
and at some point it will bottom out a little bit. But also maybe they are the 6th worst team and they win the lottery, the 7th worst team and they win the lottery. I don't think they have. I think there's this whole idea of being number 1 and then the disappointment of you don't win the lottery when you had this awful, terrible season. Look at the Nets when they were the worst team in the league and they wanted to get John Wall. They didn't. They fell and they drafted Derek Favors. Of course, this would be the one year of, Washington will be the worst team in the NBA and they'll win the lottery. Because, of course, if that is very like a net thing to happen for a net fan to see that happen.
Well, at least you guys win the lottery sometimes. And Knicks have never even moved up in a lottery.
Every time Ewing lottery.
Yeah, the first one ever. Yeah, sure. But like ever since then, like they haven't won. They haven't even moved a spot up in the lottery. They only moved down or stayed still. So I don't want to hear like complaints.
Of course, I'm going to complain.
Yeah,
because your team's shittier doesn't mean I can't complain in the lottery. And this haven't even been in the lottery in forever because the draft picks have been moved around or they've been in the playoffs. It's been so different. But I mean, the Nets are 8-10, and we'll move on to the Knicks in a second. The Nets are 8-10 with a majority of those losses coming to the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. They have 2 losses versus Boston. They have 2 losses versus the Knicks. They have a Cavs loss and they have a Magic loss. So 6 of those losses are there. They're 5-1 versus the West. It doesn't make sense.
None. Does not make
It
sense.
doesn't make
Zero
sense. They have no Cam Thomas tonight versus the Suns, but whatever. Like
They'll probably win anyway.
They'll
Kevin
go into
Durant.
Phoenix. Go in.
And he's healthy. But, like the Nets in the future, they have to be careful. They can't bottom out and not add any veterans or anything like that. You look at the Lakers from 10 years ago when they had like a talented roster and like Julius Randle and Josh Hart and who they have, D'Angelo Russell and Brandon Ingram. They had so much talent, but they couldn't win anything because they had no veterans around to teach these guys how to play. And the same thing with the Sixers when they were tanking in the process. The moment they started adding some veterans and they fired what's his name, the process general, they started winning some games. I know they got Embiid and Ben Simmons and took off, but they needed to have some talent around these guys to teach these guys how to be pros. And that's why it was great what the Knicks did when they were young and developing talent with RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, who they ended up flipping for OG Anunoby. They had guys like Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier. They had guys on the roster that could teach these guys how to play and people that they looked up to. Like Emmanuel Quickly and Deuce McBride had Derrick Rose to look up to. This is a guy they probably had a poster of him on their wall when they were a kid. If kids even have posters anymore. You know what I mean? Like these are the kinds of things that you have to do with an organization to be successful. And you develop talent and you see where you go. And, Mitchell Robinson had, a couple guys, Taj Gibson to look up to. And, I know he's not Derrick Rose, but it's still a veteran to teach you the ropes and how to play ball. So that's what you have to do if you're the Nets. You got to be careful. You got to toe the line of rebuilding and tanking, but also keeping some guys around that you can also try to win a little bit.
I mean, Dennis Schroeder's been excellent. He had 31 points and had 17 in the fourth quarter, who led that comeback. I mean, trading Spencer Dinwiddie for him has really helped the organization and building a foundation because Dinwiddie was checked out. He was being a dick at the end of his tenure.
Yeah.
And Schroeder's come in and has provided that. Cam Johnson has been an all-star kind of play. I don't know if he's an all-star. Fuck, I haven't looked at the Eastern Conference and all of it.
Oh my God, you idiot. How do you not know everything?
I'm just saying he's played really well. He's having by far his best season. And people have joked, maybe the Knicks traded for the wrong twin with CJ and Mikal OG Anunoby's played unbelievable basketball. I mean,
all-star. He is an all-star.
Yes. He's played out of his mind. Just fantastic basketball, being a legit third option for the Knicks. The Knicks can win and Mikal Bridges can still play poorly. Both things can be true.
Get comfortable in your new role and just let's keep winning. That's it.
And I will say I don't think Knicks have held him accountable enough. But again, it's not my team. But you're winning basketball games. I wouldn't say it's because of him. It's in spite of him, right? They're not winning games because Mikal's going out there and doing anything special. If his name wasn't Mikal Bridges and he was anybody else, be like, yeah, he's been a good guy to have out on there. He can score in spots. I wish his 3-point shooting was improved. He's been awful from behind the arc at 31%. His defense not as good as I thought it would be at the perimeter, but he's a piece.
That's it. That's all he is. And that's why it doesn't matter. But he helps. And you know what? When Towns was out that one game, he stepped up and scored. So it's just, that's what happens. Like if you ever, you played sports and you watch enough sports, so we've all watched sports. That's why you're listening to this podcast. You understand when you're not getting the ball as much and then you finally get the ball and you're used to getting the ball all the time. You finally get the ball. You're going to press. You're going to press and you're going to get nervous. I better make the shot. I'm not going to get another one. But that's what's going on with him right now, in my opinion. And I feel that once he gets comfortable in his role, doesn't press so much. I've traded for all these picks and this and that. Just relax. Just relax, Mikal, and it'll be fine. We're giving you time. This is rare that a Knicks fan base is giving you time. But because you're part of the crew, part of the Villanova crew, he's balling, man. And he's going to ball and he's going to take his time and Knicks fans are going to be patient and just wait. He's going to have his month where he puts it out there and he's going to be fine.
Or he might not. Or this just might be who he is.
So he's a 12-point per game scorer and that's it. And he's never going to get better.
I mean, he scored 19 a game for the Nets last year, but he's taking 800 shots. I mean, so it was on a volume level.
Right. He's got to hit the open shot. Your open corner three, you got to hit that. That's
I mean, he's been terrible.
He will, in my opinion.
He's just been minus the net games. He's been terrible from three.
Right. Well, that was a scary thing with changing his shot, man. That's what we talked about in this offseason. You change your shot. Why are you changing your shot? You've been in the NBA for years.
Look at what Tibbs did at the end of the Jazz game. He didn't play. Right. He went with Campaign, who's actually played well. He was hitting shots.
Yeah.
Right, so he went with Campaign, which the Knicks. It's good to see. If I would take it as glass half full that someone on the bench that can come in and provide minutes and who's played well.
Right.
But
Which is funny. He's on the Knicks because for as a favor to Mikal.
well, they're best
Campaign.
friends, and
Yeah. So that's what's funny. So it's like
yeah,
the boys
and
taking a
also,
job.
and to
Yeah.
you, Alex, this is directly at you,
Directly at me,
who have
not
been
Twitter.
calling out net fans on
Yeah.
Twitter for being like, "Oh, you're so obsessed with Mikal playing poorly." Like, no shit. I would rephrase it for you this way: are you rooting for Porzingis to play well because he was a
No,
former Nick? It's the same thing. It's the
no,
same thing. It's the
no.
same thing. When you have draft assets attached back, you don't like what he said about the organization on his way out the door.
Of course.
Different. It's the same exact concept. So I just
But then
want
you can't
from
get mad
your
when
end.
I give it back. Like this week when I'm giving it back of the Knicks and Nets are winning set Knicks and Bucks. I did it again. Knicks and Bucks have won 7 of 10, and now the picks aren't worth as much this year. You can't get mad that I'm
Oh
giving it
no,
back when, that's all.
of course not. Of
Yeah.
course not. But I just want to. I want you to understand from any net fan perspective why they're rooting against him. And yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, net fans
You're
are obsessed.
obsessed.
You're
Yeah,
obsessed."
no, of
Yeah, I
course.
am
Of course you
obsessed.
are.
Of
Yeah,
course, I'm
no, I get
obsessed. And
that.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that there's any negative connotation for anybody that says that to you is just a dickhead. And they just want to try to get under your skin and they can't
Right.
understand it.
Right.
Let me, that's why I bring it back. And I'll say for any Nick fan, when Porzingis was dealt, they're like, well, I hope he plays well in Dallas. I really hope he succeeds and does a really good job.
No, the
No, you wanted him to fail. You
the
didn't like
best
what
game
happened
of
on the
that
way out the door.
season, the best game of that tanking season was when Marcus Morris hit that jumper to beat the Mavericks when Porzingis had his first game back with the Knicks.
Bingo.
You know what I mean? That was like the crowd went bananas. It was like a playoff game, and that was
Exactly.
they could have lost the rest of the games that year. Nobody cared. Like we
Exactly.
shoved it up Porzingis' ass, and that
It's
was
the
it.
same thing. And
Yeah,
then imagine that you're trading him to the Mavericks, but you're trading him to the Knicks. So it's
right,
even more in your
right,
face.
more in
Whereas
your
he's in
face.
Dallas,
Like him winning a championship with the Celtics, I think that kind of hurt a little bit, but at the
right.
same time, it's been years now, so it's like kind of like whatever. I'd
And he
rather
went
him
to
win.
another team. So imagine that you have
Yeah,
the net Nick dynamic added to it. It's the same.
right.
I just want fans to understand because I don't have to go. There's this tendency. I feel like when I'm going on Twitter, I have to defend a net fan stance of like, oh, you're obsessed. It's like, well, yeah, I want him. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Understand that. So we don't do a good enough job of putting ourselves in other people's shoes and understanding where it's coming from.
Well,
So
there's no
yeah.
logic on Twitter. I mean, that's just what it is. So
So what are
it's
the
just funny.
answers to what were the answers to the 3 and 6 pick? You said you knew one of them real quick.
Oh, so one was Chauncey Billups, right?
Yep.
So that was easy. Can you give me a hint on the sixth pick?
Yeah,
97 draft.
he was on the Nets at one point. He played against the Nets in the playoffs in 2002. He was on the Pacers. That's not going to help you.
No, the Pacers.
Trying to think. I don't think he was an all-star. He had like good career, but I wouldn't say it was anything outstanding. That's all he got for clues. He went to Kentucky. His initials are RM.
Oh, Ron Mercer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Good job.
there you go. That's a guy. That's a guy I forgot about completely. But the RM hit because those Celtics teams had talent. Like I'm saying, good to tie it all together. A lot of talent on those Celtics teams with Patino and back in those days, but they couldn't put it together. They didn't have enough assets and they didn't have enough veterans around them to make it a team. And it is what it is. Not like Patino can't coach. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But how about Karl-Anthony Towns, man?
He's been
How
great.
about him? The Knicks tanked a million years ago to try to get him, and they finally got him. And oh my God, what a trade! And Dante DiVincenzo, we hate to see him go, but you know what? You got to give up something to get something. And Towns is way better than any of us ever thought. And yeah, you see him play in Minnesota, you see him play in the playoffs, you see him play, but when you really watch a guy every single
Of
game and
course.
every single quarter, you really learn like, oh, this guy is special. Like yeah, he has some defensive liability at some points,
Yeah.
but what he provides on the offensive end, both from shooting, dribbling, passing, cutting, backdoor, like it's unbelievable. This guy plays like a guard and he's a center, and it's crazy. And he's from here, so it's he gets it. So it's nice because he went through his lumps in Minnesota. It's kind of like he went to college. He went through his lumps in Minnesota and had his problems. I know he went to college, but 1 year doesn't count. And he went through hell. He was trashed on social media and by media heads, talking heads, and soft. And maybe he was soft, but you know what? He's an adult now. I think he's grown up a lot, and now is ready to just take over the Knicks and just start winning a lot of games. And I think he needed to change of scenery. And maybe that's why, they made the trade in Minnesota. And I know he says he was shocked, but I could find it hard to believe that a guy who was a centerpiece of an organization for that long, it was a top pick, had no idea. Mitchell Robinson knew he was in trade talks. He was talking about it on social media all summer, indirectly. They want to trade me. They want to trade me, things like that. And there's no way Karl-Anthony Towns, at his stature, with his agency, had no idea. So I'll just put it that way. That's just my opinion. I don't have any sources. It's just my opinion.
Well, I told you when the deal went down, I was like, well, this really helps the Knicks. I mean, I
did
say that. But I did say, like, hey, let's see what happens in playoff spots.
I was just hurt about Dante. I didn't care about Randall. Couldn't give a shit about Randall, but Dante just hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. But he's been fantastic. I mean, he's done everything. He's been great for the Knicks. And if Jalen Brunson is having an off night, he has been there. And he's provided scoring, and he has been the second option that the Knicks have not had. And he has done a really nice job for them. Nothing but compliments to say about it. And you reference, you don't really know until you see a guy every night.
Right.
I had the same feeling for a former Net, Kevin Durant. When he got here, I was like,
say Ron Mercer? No.
When you really saw Kevin Durant play every day, you're like, okay, this is not shit I see every time. And he actually today said, I'm a Net for life. And I roll my eyes at it, of course, but I do
funny.
feel
Net for life. Couldn't wait to get out of town, but I'm a Net for life.
I do say this, that out of the big three, he's the one I definitely have a soft spot for.
Right. Right. You do.
Because but it got me reflecting as I was driving my son to school, and
one
just thinking about
your cheek, one tear. That's it.
Just thinking about like what could have been in the big three era, and that it just never fully came together.
He chose the wrong sidekick. I mean, Kyrie, and then COVID hit, and then you got a guy like Kyrie and COVID in New York City, and it just was the ticking time bomb.
No, didn't work out.
And he just chose the wrong sidekick. It is what it is. I mean, I know even if he went with Kawhi to the Knicks, like that rumor was out there for a little bit in the summer, that summer too, it still wouldn't have worked out because Kawhi, is injured. His career hasn't been the same. He did have a couple years that he was okay with the Clippers, but you never know what could have happened. But at the end of the day, he chose the wrong guy. And DeAndre Jordan was a mess, and that was a flop. And Knicks fans saw that coming a mile away. Like, this is not DeAndre Jordan from the Clippers. This is a different guy that we just saw him for half a season. He's washed, and he's still playing, which is props to him. But it just didn't work out. That's all.
If they never make the James Harden trade, and you have
LeVert,
all your assets back,
Allen.
you have LeVert off the bench, you have Jared Allen as your your starting center, and Durant
with Claxton, there. Right? You still at Claxton?
Yeah. Claxton was a rookie.
When did you get him?
He was a rookie. Durant's.
So they had him already?
Either Kyrie's first year or Durant's first year.
Because he developed for a while, right? He wasn't playing at first,
Although he sucks. I mean, he's fine.
But he would have been a great backup, you know what I mean? To add Jared Allen,
right?
He's good.
That. So whatever. Missed the window. The window. It is evaporated. But the Nets playing winning basketball and 8-10, and we'll see what happens tonight versus no, it's definitely fun to see wins. It's more like, what are you gonna watch? No one watches and roots for L's. You just
right. Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing a Jets hat right now, and I think the Jets suck, and I just want them to lose. But if I'm watching the game, I'm going to be watching the game because I'm crazy, and I'm going to be rooting for them to win.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Giants
if they lose,
Thursday.
I'm going to laugh. But if they win, I'll be happy. It's the perfect storm. You know what I mean? And that's where the Nets are right now. I don't think you'll laugh because, it's not – but you want them to win because you
Jets
never
are
know.
Supposed to win, too. I mean, that's a huge difference, though. Like,
right.
Jets came into the season with expectations of the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yes.
Those are gone.
Yeah.
How disappointing is that you had this like insane excitement? Or you just, I mean, I remember, but although I think this is evaporated, we were recording over the summer at some point. And you're like, Jets lose a game, taking it cool because I know how good it's going to be
early in the season.
You still like that, or you've over that? They still okay?
Honestly, nobody could have seen this shit coming, man. Like, I
next
think it
level.
took about 3-4 weeks when I'm just like, oh, this is just like
This is bad.
this is not good. You know what I mean? And
Aaron's not the same player he was in
no,
Green Bay.
and then
There's
2 weeks
fundamental
ago,
issues.
yeah, and you got everybody on TV and radio saying how smart they are because, like, look, he's obviously injured. He's injured. Like, I'm watching the Jets game. I never played football in my life, not even high school, and I'm saying like this guy's hurt. He hasn't thrown the ball. I mean, I think I texted you. I'm like, this guy hasn't thrown the ball over 10 yards. Like everything's a dink and dump. Like I know Tom Brady used to do that, but every so often he hit you with a 35, 40-yard bomb. Like, you know what I mean? Or towards the end, he was always like taking it safe. But these were
Yeah.
like not even like over the middle 7-yard passes. These were like off in the flat. Like, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Nothing. Like, what are we doing here? And sure enough, he's hurt. So, and he's gonna play and start and whatever. Either way, I had enough of him. I had enough of them. I'm just they suck, and they're not even worth talking about. It's just
Yeah.
lose out and whatever. But
Yeah.
still want them to win because I'm a Jets fan. Like you want the Nets to win because you're a Nets fan, and it's okay to root for wins. And then if they lose, it's okay. You know what I mean? You have it the best of both worlds right now.
Let's see where everything is with the Nets and in 20 more games from now. I mean, if they're 19 and 21, 20 and 20, 17
Right.
and 22, if they are hanging in there and still winning these games, all right, maybe we can reevaluate where things are then. If this is
You're
the
not going to
right
make
decision.
trades, but you'll just like you're
I was
not
trying
going
to
to
be
try to tank.
I was trying to be sarcastic on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, the Nets are buyers now because they're winning out west." And people were like, "No, they're not, you idiot!" It's like
You got to put like
not
a
that.
generic LOL in there. You
I
got
know.
you can't
I
like
needed an emoji. I needed an
yeah,
emoji.
an emoji, or you got to learn from Doug Norrie. He's the king of the sarcasm,
I
and
know.
he
I
just
missed it.
crushes
Everybody's like, "Who are
Yeah.
they going to get? What do they need? They don't need to be doing that." I'm like, "My God,
Oh my
I've
God,
lost
yeah.
my touch."
No, the
It's
Nets
like,
are gonna
man,
get the buyout market. They're gonna hit the
right?
buyout market hard.
I know.
I don't know, man. They're right there though. They're 8-10, and they're right there with like. But there's a lot of teams that are like 8-10 and 7-8
The
and
whole
8 and
East.
11, and like the whole East is like right there. It's like my fantasy league. Everybody's like the same record. It's insane.
Yeah. How about
But
Orlando winning games
yeah,
still, even with their
without
injuries?
Banchero, yeah,
Yeah, they've
that's
been
that's
playing
pretty
well.
surprising. But they'll
Cleveland
probably fall
still
off
only
too.
one
Yeah,
loss. No, that nobody
Cleveland's
talks
the same.
enough about how good Orlando is because they're the Orlando Magic. But if
Yeah,
you attached another jersey on them and they were anybody else with a history in the NBA, and I know that Orlando has a little history
like the
with
Knicks, like the
and Dwight.
Knicks.
But
Yeah,
if they
things
were
are
the
bigger at the
Knicks,
Knicks. Yeah,
if they were the Celtics, if they were even
yeah.
the Detroit Pistons,
Right,
right? Just
right,
a
right.
team in a
With a
major
big
market.
fan
It's also the
base.
market too. I think in the
Yeah,
market,
Chicago or something
nobody
like that.
takes
Yeah,
Orlando
yeah,
seriously, but they have so much good young talent. That could definitely be an option for a Nick first round. You could
yeah.
see a 4 or 5 there.
I think the Knicks
Or
will jump up to 3 at least, and it'll be the Knicks, Cavs, and Boston, the top 3 in whatever order. I don't know, but I just feel that that's going to happen eventually.
give
So we'll
me,
see.
or maybe we'll have Knicks Nets first round.
The year we don't expect it. We've wanted it since we started this podcast years
Never
ago.
know. Unfortunately,
Never happened until now. It would have been crazy for us if it happened with the Durant and Kyrie. That would have been nuts. With the Randall team,
thanks.
that would have been fun. But
Nets would have won that series in 5.
right, but
Now
it would have been
looking
all the
back at it
pressure
with
on you and
right.
the Nets.
I
You
would have been a
been
stressed
freaking
out
the fuck
mess.
out.
But looking back on it with that
Yeah.
team, they would have won. They
Oh,
would
they
have
would have crushed
crushed
them.
the Knicks.
Yeah, that 4 seed team. That's what the
Oh
picture
God,
behind me
Knicks
if you're
Nets
watching
would
on
have
YouTube.
Nets would have killed them.
Right here, you see
A healthy net team with Harden, Kyrie, Durant, Joe Harris not being bad, although he was bad in the playoffs.
Right,
Blake,
right. But
Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, if he was healthy. Oh God,
you think they're going to beat this team with Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, R.J. Barrett, Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, Obi Toppin,
yes,
Alec
but
Burks? Come
I would have
on,
been
Alec
scared.
Burks.
Where's Burks? Is Burks in the league this year?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. Let me check it out. Alec Burks. I think
Also,
he
not
is.
talked about enough. Jalen Wilson playing good basketball.
Yeah, you called that actually.
Well, he was the
Yeah. Oh, he's on the Heat.
Summer League
Alec
MVP.
Burks on the Heat. Yeah, he's on the Heat.
He gets minutes.
Yeah.
He's on the
He
mind.
was.
Okay, good. But I
No,
could
it's
see
not
it.
good for fantasy, but yeah, Alec Burks on Miami.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 2. What was the episode number?
244.
244. All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Really quick
to
though,
all.
I want to
Go
do
for
this.
it.
This
Oh, yeah,
poll.
your poll.
I put
Sorry
out this
about that.
poll
Yes.
of we haven't done a poll question in a long time here, but I had to do one because I've seen a lot of upgrade tweets from Knicks, like what's the biggest upgrade? What's the biggest upgrade? And they put 2 pictures of an old player and a new player, so I put it to a poll. Best upgrade in recent Knicks history, and we got over 1,000 votes, and there's still hours left of it, so it's a really good poll. Cam Reddish for Josh Hart, Julius Randle for Karl-Anthony Towns, Kemba Walker for Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby. Mike, what do you think won the poll?
Well, what should win is Kemba to Jalen. I mean, that is clearly the biggest gap.
Yeah, that's clearly that's winning.
Where Kemba was in his career, not
Right.
the
Right.
All-Star Kemba Walker, but the Nick Kemba Walker to an All NBA point guard. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the one.
And it really was a trade. I mean, it wasn't a trade one for one. The other ones were trades for each other, but this one sort of was because the Knicks, people forget the Leon Rose year two after the 4 seed championship, how they tried to go for it and run it back and add Kemba Walker and Fournier, and it just didn't work. And they went over the cap and Nerlens Noel contracts and Kemba Walker contracts, gave him 2 years for some reason, not one. It was reported as one in the beginning, whatever. So that draft, the Pistons just took all their players for some reason. It was very nice of them. And their draft pick, they gave him the Jalen Duren, who's okay, but not great. And, Kemba Walker was part of that to dump the contract. And because they dumped all those deals, they were able to get Jalen Brunson. So it sort of was a trade, Kemba for Jalen Brunson. Cam Reddish and a first for Josh Hart was in a killer trade. Incredible. Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo for Karl-Anthony Towns. Great trade also. And RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly for, OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa. I mean, that's a killer trade, too. I love RJ Barrett, and he plays great. He's doing great in Toronto. He's putting up numbers. The team's losing. But you know what? He's maybe he's found his home. He's from there and whatever. Emmanuel Quickly, I always wish him well. Those are guys I won't root against ever.
You did not mention the Mikal Bridges trade in your.
I did not because they traded for air and there wasn't like a person.
They didn't trade for air.
Better?
They traded
what's
for
better
picks
for
it wasn't
Mikal
air.
Bridges. I mean, we don't know until years down the road. So
I would say I will take a educated guess, but I say when it's all said and done, there will be some player that is better than Mikal Bridges that was somehow got him back to the Nets.
Well,
or the accumulation of all of them will be better than what Mikal was. I feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I get you. So what it was Jalen Brunson was 55%. Cam Reddish for Josh Hart was 20%. RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby was 14%, and Julius Randle for Towns 11%. And now the polls are still open for another 5.5 hours, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm sure it's not going to get over Jalen Brunson's.
The polls are still open. What do you
go and vote?
We're reporting in New York.
Dolan J. Trump
87% in.
4 more years.
Firmly say that this is over.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. Looking at a poll like that, I know it. I didn't come up with the idea. Well, I come up with the idea to put it as a poll, but I saw a lot of fans talking about what's the biggest upgrade. Was it this one, Randall for Towns? And then somebody would respond with a picture of Hart and Reddish, and somebody would respond with this picture. So as I put it to a poll, it really shows how great of a job Leon Rose has done. Incredible over the last 2 years, especially. Agreed. I mean, Cam Reddish for Josh Hart is amazing. You know what I mean? And that's just Josh Hart is the heart and soul of the franchise. And I'm not even talking about just on the floor, but he's like the face of the team, and Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, like it's just that one, the Reddish for Hart and Barrett and Quickly for OG Anunoby are the trades that really put this team. I mean, Jalen Brunson aside, I mean, those two, like, to have the balls to trade two fan favorites like RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly in the middle of the season out of nowhere. I know there were some rumors it's soured with the organization. RJ Barrett's ready for a change, but nobody believed it. And then you get OG Anunoby, a guy that nobody pays attention to. It's not even like Towns. We're talking about you don't watch him every day, but OG Anunoby, like, all right, he's good, but like, look at his numbers. We even talked about it on the podcast. Look at his numbers. Like, what's so great about him? But like the numbers don't tell the story for OG Anunoby.
And now he's gotten the numbers though.
And now he's getting the numbers, and he's on the team that people pay attention to, and he's going to be an all-star. I would bet on that. So. Anyway,
he's playing great. Hopefully, the one major screw up is the Mikal one. Hopefully, that is a big screw.
If that's even a screw up, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how
that
trade works out.
It's a time.
We'll never know. Yeah,
I have to put a blanket on some of what you're saying. All your facts are true, but I have to be here to do it.
Right. It's time will tell about Mikal Bridges.
Right. Time will tell what happens with the organization.
I'll say right now, it looks like the Nets had the benefit because they got all these draft picks and he's averaging like 15 points a game. But he's the fourth option, averaging 50 points a game. So we have to see how the team turns in the next couple of years and what happens. And maybe this year, God forbid, there's an injury and then he steps up. You don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see.
Which is why, like if Giannis becomes available and all those assets are gone and you could, and like I said, it's a weird one to dissect because it's not a one. The other ones, they have names and players that went back and forth, so you can see it more. Like even I would say even if Mikal was playing so bad that he couldn't even get on the court, or he was playing how OG Anunoby is here, it's still what it does to the Nets. It doesn't. They're still where they are with those draft picks. It doesn't change that.
Right. Right.
They don't have a guy that's playing. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Listen,
nice.
it was a Knicks tax to get him, and they really wanted him, and he fits perfectly if he can hit that open three and play some better defense. And I'm sure he will. I'm so
He
positive.
fits perfectly if he shoots.
If he
and
could
plays
play
defense.
like himself. I mean, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, he hasn't
Thank
played
you.
well. He hasn't
Thank
played
you.
well, but he will, in my opinion. I think he will take a step. I think he will get better. I think
Yeah.
it's hard because he comes here in the summertime. He's this big trade, and he's the piece, the final piece. And all of a sudden, you're relegated to the back because we just got Karl-Anthony Towns. You know what I mean? And now you're the fourth option. And he's probably like, oh, shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's hard, man.
Or
You
this
know?
is what Mikal Bridges is. This is the kind of play. Or this is him,
Or,
which is
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Or this is him.
Or
Or this is the player he is.
Or it becomes a perennial all-star and averages 30 points a game. I don't know. You know, we'll see. We'll see
No
what
chance.
happens, man. You know,
Perennial
we'll see.
All-star.
Yeah,
Get at it.
I'm kidding. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, bad
You know,
weather
I'm
fans.
just excited. I'm excited. Let me be excited, Mike. Let me be excited.
This is episode 244. Knicks 10-7. Nets 8-10. Happy Thanksgiving to
Yes.
everybody. Programming note. I believe we will be on Sunday, Alex.
Yeah.
We'll be back in the city with Dexter Henry.
Yep. New York game. We'll be back on SNY.
So that'll be cool.
Post Sports. You know, so check us out there. We'll post it here, I'm sure, as well. And we will, you know, bring you some more action coming up soon.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 244. Thank you for
Thanksgiving.
everybody listening. Check us out on YouTube if you want to see the video version. Alex, have a great one, and we'll talk to you later.